everyone, Stacie Koroly here with eXp Realty, and today we are going to talk about mortgages and your credit score. So with me today I have Eric Petransky of Guaranteed Rate.
How's it going?
And also Ramsey Coulter of Coulter Credit.
Hello.
So we're just going to dive deep about refinancing, mortgages, what to expect if you want to refi and how to do that, what the rates are. So, Eric, why don't you talk about Guaranteed Rate, and then what's it like in the mortgage industry now?
Oh boy, let's put it that way.
Is it slow?
It's unreal right now. Everyone's working 24/7. We're at capacity, and it's not just Guaranteed Rate; it's the entire business. COVID has changed things in terms of interest rates, the volume. It's driving business, so it's a completely different monster right now, and I still have hair on my head, so I'm surviving it.
I thought with COVID that when it first hit, I don't know about you guys, but I was thinking it's going to slow down, our business is going to be really slow, and the opposite happened.
Yeah. So I actually called my boss, Jeff, at the time when there was a week of no one calling me. This was pre-COVID, like right when it was about to hit. I remember that, this conversation. I'm like, Jeff, I'm slowing down. How am I going to pay the bills? And he just told me, relax, buddy. Just keep doing what you're doing, and things will work out. And 2 weeks later, interest rates dropped phenomenally. So that drove business, and now we are here where we're at today.
So with mortgages, if someone's thinking like a first-time home buyer, or someone like that's an active adult that I specialize in, what would you say to them about getting a mortgage, the process? Like if they're not going to buy until like November, December, what should they be doing?
So honestly, it's always good to get the process started way before you anticipate on buying. And that's to get your credit checked. Because a lot of people, whether you're a first-time buyer, you're a seasoned buyer, whether you're just jumping into the game, you should really know where your credit score is at, because that really it impacts what type of program you can get approved for. Yeah,
and you bring up a good point. So with the credit scores, when we were talking before we started taping this, someone had gone up how many points and it saved them. It was insane. You got to hear the story.
Yeah, so actually, ironically, it was a client for today. I ran some numbers for him about 2 months ago. Self-employed borrower, so he needed some type of credit boost because he was running up his credit cards. So we did an application a couple months ago. And I told him basically what had to happen to increase his scores, and today we actually re-pulled his score, and I got him from a 2.875 down to a 2.625 on an interest rate on an FHA loan.
So that doesn't sound like much, 2.875 to 2.65, but what's the dollars?
Yeah,
like,
so the loan amount that we were working on was about $330,000 of the loan. The difference between the rate was $45, so over 30 years that saved him $16,000 and some change, just by doing a little update on the credit. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for him.
So for refinancing, like I had, and we talked about this because I almost refinanced, but when is it worth refinancing? Like, what are the rates right now based on credit score?
So the rule of thumb I hear, which I got into the business, is if you can drop your rate 0.75% into a point. It really depends on the situation, right? If you're going from conventional loan with mortgage insurance to not having that, 0.25% might make sense. Depends on the situation. Interest rates right now, you can get a 30-year on under 3%, and 25 years better pricing, the 20 years different pricing. So we're giving out money basically.
I totally agree. So if someone has like a 4 or 5% interest rate, they should definitely call you.
They should be calling us after this conversation.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And then we'll also have on the screen Eric's contact information. Just give him a call. It's free. At the end of the day, you're going to gain knowledge and know, hey, if it's worth it, then refinance. You're going to save a lot of money. Or if you stay put, then at least you know that. But the more information you know, the better. It's
a peace of mind at this point to make sure you're in the right program. Sure.
Okay, so when we talk about mortgages, the first thing that Eric said was you need to know your credit score. So without further ado, we're going to talk to Ramsey Coulter about his company and what happens. Like if someone has bad credit, how can you help them?
Yeah, sure. So it all starts with a free consultation. They call in, we do a free consultation, we'll look at all the credit reports, what we do is it's a soft inquiry. It doesn't damage their credit. And we just need to see what's going on. Why are their scores low? Is there negative accounts? Are there collection accounts? Are there late payments? Is it maxed out credit cards or high utilization like that other guy? Do they have no credit? Do they need to open up a credit card? Do they need to build credit? So we help people build credit, establish credit, repair credit, give them a game plan, explain how credit works, because there's so much misinformation out there, especially on the internet nowadays. There's so many free apps out there, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, Credit Wise, Experian, always advertising about their Experian Boost, and all that stuff. So really just try to educate the consumer about what to do, what not to do, and go from there.
What I didn't know before we were talking, you said Experian is really geared towards credit cards. And I thought, like, I subscribed and I get updates. I'm like, oh, this is great. This will help me with mortgage. Right. But it's really for credit cards.
Yeah, so the free Experian app, which I have, it shows you, and if you look at it, the small print says FICO 8 credit score. And so for most people, they're like, great, well, I don't know, that's probably the one that everybody uses. But that's not true, because there's actually hundreds of different types of credit scores. Mortgage lenders only use really old FICO credit scores that are geared towards the mortgage industry. And so they're called FICO mortgage industry scores. And so actually, if you have the paid version of Experian, it does show you just your Experian mortgage score. It has a picture of a house, and then that's the score, and then a picture of a car, and then that's one score that cars use, another picture of a car. And
so I didn't know that.
But it's just Experian, so that could be your highest, that could be your lowest, that could be the middle. Right. Even if you pay, because I did the free just recently. It's like free for a week, and then they charge you $20. They don't show TransUnion and Equifax mortgage industry scores. You have to go to FICO.com directly or call Eric.
Okay. So what are some of the services, or when people come to you, is there ever a point where it's like it's too late, like their credit's shot? Like, do some people, does it take?
I'm sure you've seen it all.
But I mean, like, if someone is in the 400 or 500 range, how long does it take to build up?
Yeah, so it all depends. So typically, if you're under 500, if you're in the 4s or the 3s, God forbid,
There's a rate that's in the 3s?
Your credit score goes from a 350 to an 850.
You're in serious trouble if you're in the 300 range.
Right, that means
you are
currently, no, I can't help you. That means you're currently very behind on everything. Your mortgage, your car loan, your student loans, everything's 120 plus days late. At that point, we just tell someone, hey, look, there's nothing we can do today. This is long term.
It's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time. Yeah. You need to get current on everything first before you even pay us a penny or enroll in our program, because there's no point. If you're behind on car loans, student loans, credit cards, paying us is not going to do anything.
Right.
There's nothing that we can do at that exact point.
So can you what are 2 things that people could do immediately after watching this, or in the next days or weeks ahead, to boost their credit?
Yeah, so first thing is, if you don't have a credit card, you need a credit card. We talk to a lot of people. I have a lot of clients in Philly, a lot of older gentlemen that have said some not so nice things where they're like, I don't need a credit card.
I pay in cash.
Right, I pay cash for everything. And I'm like, sir, that's great. And as soon as you buy your house, you can cancel that credit card and never use one again. That's fine. But having a credit card is the second most important factor to a credit score. So not having one, you're missing out on up to 30%. That's a huge chunk of your credit score. So you need a credit card. A secured credit card is usually the way to go if you have not good credit. You give your bank $200, $300, they give you a credit card. That's an almost guaranteed way to get one, although some banks deny people for secured credit cards too. We give that info out for free, how to build credit, what types of accounts to get, what not to apply for. We know if you're going to get approved or not. They have different guidelines, and we know them.
Okay, so as we're talking, I'm thinking about Eric's son, Ari, and he did something that I never heard of before that's wicked cool. Like, I have 3 teenagers, 14, 16, 18, and when Eric told me the story, I signed up immediately. So why don't you tell everyone what you did?
Yeah, so I have a 2-year-old. He's amazing. Yeah. And I think it was last year we decided to put him on one of our credit cards as an authorized user. my parents instilled in me good credit, pay things on time. So me and my wife, fortunately, were able to keep our scores way above, close to the 800 range. Not to brag, but we love credit. So we wanted to pass that on to him, just as long as we keep doing what we're doing, and give him some of that credit. So when he is ready, God forbid, when he's 18 and he gets a full ride to play football somewhere,
Right.
he could go get a car or something like that. So that's
awesome. So I never knew this. Like if you have children, you want to make sure that you can add them to your credit card, because by the time they are 18, they'll have great credit. I didn't even know that was legal. Like,
Yeah.
how can you do that?
I found out doing a few loans when I first got into the business, where my fellow loan officer was like, hey, add that person to the authorized user, and I found out the age gap, and you can do it. So.
And Ramsey, do you ever recommend this? Because we, years ago, I had this girls' leadership camp, and what we learned was people or hackers are getting kids, they're putting credit cards in children's names, and no one knows. Like, it flies under the radar. So how can you check your children's credit just like your own?
So yes and no. They don't have any credit to check, so there's nothing to check. So you would generate nothing. They would say this doesn't. There's no credit file to pull, and so now once they have credit, he could probably set up a credit monitoring account for Ari. I would actually love to know the answer to that. Try that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he actually has a credit file now. He has credit history. He has a credit card in his name or an authorized user that shows on his credit.
Right.
But prior to them having any credit, there's nothing to check, and so they don't even exist in the credit bureau's
Right, just
database.
besides their social security number, they don't
Right.
have anything established.
That's kind of
I'm gonna actually check into
though.
that. Yeah.
So, I mean, people can get can sign on for your kids, and there's no way of knowing.
Essentially, I mean, there's identity theft protection services out there and stuff like LifeLock or credit monitoring accounts that can monitor your children.
Okay.
You put in the social security numbers, and they can monitor it to see if there's applications being in those names. But then it's something that you have to pay for forever
Okay.
to
Right.
monitor for them.
Right.
But here's the deal. So if somebody is a true victim of identity theft, that is something that is, it's a pain in the butt, but it's rather easy to resolve, because you file a police report. You say, look, I didn't apply. Now, if it's a kid, it's going to be a little bit harder. But once they turn 18, they can file a police report in their name. They send a copy of that and an FTC fraud affidavit from the FTC to all 3 bureaus, swearing under penalty of perjury that this is not my account. I've never opened up a whatever account. You send a copy of that report also to the bank or the creditor who that card was opened in, and legally under the law they have to remove that information when it's true identity theft. And I say that with very much emphasis, because so many people that we talk to say, well, I never had Comcast. And then we say, well, great, did you file a police report? They're like, well, what do you mean? Well, if somebody fraudulently opened an account in your name, you need to go report that to the police. Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
And then no one does it.
Because you opened it, or because your brother or sister or cousin or ex did. All right, well then, that's not true identity theft. You knew about it.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so getting back to mortgages, Eric, I had to take, we all have to take continuing education for realtors. And what I learned was, when a couple applies for a mortgage, you pull their credit,
Yep.
and you go by what credit score? Do you go by the median, or the highest, or the lowest?
So we go by the middle credit score of the lowest qualified borrowers, middle scores. So you were thrown away when I told you that. And you can have 800 credit score, and your wife could have a 620, and we're going to base that approval off the 620. So
Couples need to know what your credit scores are.
she's spending the money and he's making it. So
Right. Okay, so let's end with this. For each one of you, what would you say is the biggest takeaway, whether you're applying for a mortgage to help people or refinancing and for you credit? So Eric.
So I guess for me, it's don't wait. Know where your score's at. Get that tightened up so when you are ready, you can take advantage of your rates. And I mean, the market right now, it's just unreal. So knowing your score up front is the best bet. Refinancing, it's free. It doesn't hurt. If you're paying anywhere over 3.5% right now, you're paying way too much. A 30-year mortgage right now is under 3%. So the savings is different in each specific loan, but it's worth to look at for sure.
And then typically for real quick, selfishly, a second property, is it 1% higher typically, or what is it?
In regards to refinancing,
No, like if I wanted to buy a house down the shore, or an investment
so
property.
second home is a second home. It's not an investment property. If you're there for a duration of the year, we can qualify you as second home, so you're still gonna get a great rate.
Oh, all right.
Investment property, on the other hand, is a little bit higher. So the banks know you make money; they want their piece of it. So
Okay. And then Ramsey, what would you say, what's a good takeaway for people regarding their credit?
Yeah, sure. So I was gonna say, know your credit, but he touched on that. So even if you're using a free app like Credit Karma or Experian, it's okay. It's better than not knowing anything. You can see if there's truly fraudulent accounts or accounts that you have no idea what they are. But have credit and use it. And I don't mean go apply for a bunch of loans. That's bad advice. People say all the time, oh, I got a car to build my credit. Well, that's terrible. You get a car so you can get to work. That's good. But if you just got a car to build your credit, that's not good. Because now your debt to income ratios are skewed. But have a credit card, use it. You can be added as an authorized user to a friend or family member. That's free. It doesn't hurt their credit. That's a quick, easy way to give someone a boost because their payment history. Now they have to be paid on time. They can't be
good
late.
history.
There has to be good
That's the
history.
takeaway, pay your bills on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And where can people find you? What's your website?
Yeah, sure. So you can find us on Facebook at Coulter Credit, which is COULTER Credit, CoulterCredit.com. You can call us for a free consultation, 610-350-4683.
And Eric, where can people find you? And we're going to post it.
Yeah,
as well.
you can. It's going to be in the link below, but my direct number is 267-570-6297. Call me. You can email me. We're all over. So.
Awesome. Well, I thank you too. And we were coming live to you from Brick and Brew in the Malvern location. There's 3 total. We're going to take a look at these drinks, gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
And the food. The wings are to die for, which I love.
Awesome.
And that's it. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.